Hi, I'm Ella from the UK. This is my fourth video about my journey trying to heal ulcerative colitis with High Carb Health, who based their program on the David Klein book, Self-Healing Colitis and Crohn's. I'm not feeling my best today, but I kind of wanted to do the video when I'm not feeling great. Because I'm very aware that all my other videos are quite lively. I'm naturally quite a, why do I do that with my hands? Naturally quite a lively person. And I said in my last video, that I was okay, and I'm always okay. However ill I am, I'm always okay. But I do feel like in my life, I've been giving some of the people the wrong impression, like where I was still going to work and kind of living my life and going out and about. People just thought I was fine, and I was, because mentally I'm fine, and I'm always going to be fine, but I'd be baffled why they think I was capable of doing this or capable of doing that, because I told everyone, well, I've been going to the toilet 15 times a day, losing blood for however long. Nobody's going to feel great because you're going to be losing body fluids, foods. You're not going to be fantastic. So my last video, I was absolutely fine, because I know it can be a lot worse, but obviously my body was getting weaker. And I went to work this Wednesday, and I got sent home after less than an hour. I could basically barely stand. I was already aware that I wasn't in the best way, but I was only planning on going in for a couple of hours. I needed to tie up some loose ends, give someone a tour, but I mean, seriously, I was struggling to stand up. And it's basically because I've been getting really constant severe nausea. And it's interesting, I've had loads of different illnesses and different types of pain in my life, and I feel like nausea is just the thing that I cannot deal with. When it's constant, you don't get a break, it's relentless, it leaves me feeling exhausted. And not only that, I can't eat or drink, because eating or drinking will make you either be sick or feel even worse. And I'm very aware that if I'm still going to the toilet, which I am 15 times a day, losing blood, and you're not eating or drinking anything, you're not going to end up in the best state. I mean, every part of your body needs electrolytes to function. So Shamiz told me to put a teaspoon of sugar, coconut sugar, and a quarter of a teaspoon of salt into I'm so tired today, into a litre of water to try and get my electrolytes. So I was doing that. I was managing 1 glass a day, because it's kind of like a form of torture when you feel horrendous and you know that doing something, i.e. eating or drinking, is going to make you feel even worse, but you have to do them to feel better. And it's, I've literally just been if I can just stop feeling sick, I'll be so grateful. And I was feeling quite low, just because literally for me it was just being tortured. And I know that there are worse things, but I just couldn't get past it, just that constant. And so if I needed to try and drink my electrolyte drink, my stomach already felt like it was full and bursting, even though there was nothing in there. So I was just kind of how long can this go on? I can't take this. I can only take this I need to heal for a certain period of time. And I hadn't spoken to Shamiz for a couple of weeks, because he had to cancel an appointment, and then we hadn't kind of had mutual times, which had been fine, because even when I was feeling really sick, I knew that there's nothing terribly wrong. Well, I mean, obviously there's something wrong, but I'm not going to die or something, but I just wanted it to stop. And so I kind of pinned my hopes a little bit on when I spoke to him, that he would just be able to save me and just have a magic solution, which I know he doesn't, and I know he can't, but I was just right, I've not spoken to him in a while, so this is it, he's going to come up with something. And I spoke to him, and just as I knew he would, he said everything's normal. And that's the thing, I feel at a lot of points there isn't much that he can say other than, yeah, this is normal. And I kind of already know it is normal, but I just want it to go away. And this is how I feel I've been such a baby. I'm I just want it to go away. Please just make it stop. And that's not really my natural mentality. But, he did suggest things trying to make myself sick, and I'm trying to burp, but obviously like I tried that, and he suggested, so I was like, the thing is, I literally hate the healing foods. I never want to have another smoothie again. I never want to eat another potato, because I'm associating them with feeling seriously crap and sick and nauseous. So I'm like forcing myself to eat things that make me feel worse. And he was like, right, this isn't good. It's not going to help your digestion if you're eating stuff and not enjoying it. So why don't you try some roasties? And so I was like, okay. So I'd say probably that conversation with him is definitely the most down he's heard me. And I wouldn't even say I'm super negative, but I was just like, I just wanted to stop. And so it was interesting. After that, I spoke to my dad, because again, my mum and dad have been worried mainly about how I just had no energy. Like, I mean, standing and walking has been exhausting. I mean, when I say walking, I don't mean walking far. I mean like walking around my flat and stuff like that. And sorry, I just keep looking at my fingers. I'm just really tired. And so, like, obviously I've lost more weight, and they basically were going like, well, you know, how long is this going to go on for? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And so I felt kind of a bit of pressure from them. But after speaking to Shamiz, I just kind of felt like, no, I reminded myself, like, I have to do this. I feel so terrible. I don't want to go through this again. And I will go through it again. Like, I will want to heal again in the future. Like, if I stop now, I wouldn't even know how to stop now. Do I just start taking medication? Like, I have no idea. So I was like, I have to continue with this. And I spoke to my dad and I told him that. And I was like, you know, this is something that I have to do. Like, if you and mum are worried, fine. But, you know, I'm only going to be doing it again in the future. And I don't want to have to start all again, blah, blah, blah. And then I did some of these, like, breathing exercises that are meant to reconnect you with your body so that you're present and that helps you heal. And I also had some roasties for dinner. No oil, literally. I just boiled the potatoes and put them in the oven. And that in itself was really exciting, because I feel like the nausea had already elevated a little bit, which I think is because energetically I was back in the game. I'd had a few days of feeling really sorry for myself. And I was kind of like, no, I'm going to do this. I have to do this. And saying it out loud to my dad had actually made it a thing. And so my body was like, oh, okay, right, next stage. So I wasn't as nauseous. So I managed to eat some little roast potatoes, which was so good. And I felt so proud. Like, I literally sent pictures to my parents and to Shamiz. And yeah, so then that night I slept and didn't feel sick, and I wasn't sick. And then yesterday, which was the next day, I didn't feel nauseous. And I was like, this is literally like, I can get my life back. I'm not planning on going like out to work and being really hyper, but I can start building up some strength because I can eat and drink again. My morale was up. I had this really weird dizziness where even sitting in bed, everything was swimming and everything was moving. And I mean, I get low blood pressure when I'm really tired, but I felt like it could have been two things. Maybe because the day before I'd actually put some salt on my potatoes, so you'd think my blood pressure would have been higher, and I'd managed some electrolytes. So I thought it was either I've been propping myself up and sleeping upright, and like, so I spent the entire day sitting up and the entire night sitting up because of the nausea. It was just lying down was just too much. And I think I get orthostatic tension, so sometimes when I stand the blood pools in my feet and I can feel like I'm going to faint. And I wondered if just from being so static and being upright all the time, you know, my head basically wasn't getting enough blood. So I spent a lot of time with my legs elevated. I still kept my body a little bit elevated because I was still so anxious about feeling sick. But yeah, so I did that quite a lot and it seemed to help. I did something else. What was the other thing I did? I can't remember, but I also wondered if my neck was slightly out, because sometimes if you've got a vertebrae and your neck's slightly out, it can press on some nerves and make you a bit dizzy. So wasn't sure, just tried to not prop myself up too much. And last night I got carried away. I was so excited. I ate too many roast potatoes and I just felt like I had this block in my stomach. It was horrible, like this big brick. And I knew I'd eaten too many roast potatoes. I was really keen to build up my strength. and then started to feel a bit nauseous, but nowhere near as bad as before. So I didn't have the best night. But then today, same. I've had shooting pains up the back of my head, like someone stabbing me with a screwdriver, and through there as well. And I had more energy yesterday. Like, I actually felt a bit restless, which I think shows you've got a bit like of something extra to give. Whereas today I just feel crap. Not as crap now, where I am doing this video, as I did like half an hour ago when I could kind of barely speak. But the nausea is milder, definitely, but it's back, and I want it to go again. Hopefully it will. Yeah. There are some other symptoms I've been getting, but I kind of don't really count them because they're not bothering my life. During the night, my eyes get really sore. A week or so ago when it was sunny, every time I went in the sun, my skin would itch. It would go mad. And my teacher told me that the sun draws toxins out of your skin, which is actually where skin cancer comes from. And so that's fine. It's just part of me detoxing. I think my tongue is disgusting. I haven't looked at it because I can't bring myself to. But inside my mouth, it feels like swollen and sore and all sorts. So I've also got something called, I don't know quite how you pronounce it, but patulocystation, which is basically, sometimes it feels like there's like an air bubble in my ear. And then when I'm speaking, it's like my voice is a megaphone in my head, like you can hear inside your head. So if I'm breathing, all I can hear is like this wind tunnel of my breath. So if someone's speaking to me, I won't be able to hear them very well because there's just this wind tunnel in my ear. And apparently it's to do with a flap in your ear that opens and closes. And when it's like that, it means that it's open, but it needs to be closed. So I looked it up, and apparently it can be if you have quite dramatic weight loss, and then it can go back to normal. So that's good. I mentioned it to Shamiz because I was interested if anyone else had it, and he said, yeah, loads of people. And he thinks it's to do with as you're detoxing, like mucus coming out and that. So whatever. Where I'm not at work at the moment doesn't really matter too much because I don't have anyone to talk to. That's the other thing. I think, so tired. I think I'm going a bit mad because I live by myself, which I'm pleased with. Like, I really don't want to be around people. I just want to be left alone. My dad's amazing. He's been coming down and helping me basically making my juices for me and cooking some potatoes for me. Because at this stage, like, genuinely having a shower is knackering. I weigh up whether it's worth it or not. Yeah, like, my body does not have much to give. Although yesterday I was definitely perkier. And yeah, so I live by myself. Like, I see my dad pretty much on a daily basis. My mum's amazing, but we'd discussed at the beginning that she wasn't going to support me through this because after my last day in hospital, she's still like traumatized by that. And I think her anxiety, like, she wouldn't be able to help me, it would make it worse, and like I'd maybe stop because of her, that kind of thing. So I think it was a sensible decision. I don't want visitors at all. I honestly, like, I don't have the energy to see people. I don't want to talk to people on the phone. But then I have like mild boredom when I'm having moments where I don't feel quite so terrible, and you just start to go a bit stir crazy. But I can't win because I genuinely like do not want to see anyone. I know that if I see people, I'll like liven up and be all and like it will just take it out of me, and I can't. So yeah, going a little bit stir crazy. I mean, Shamiz suggested to me, there's apparently someone on the programme who was like bedbound for months and has suddenly come through it and suddenly really started to heal, and he thought it would be great for me to talk to her. For two reasons I don't want to. One, I just don't want to talk to anyone. Like, I'm knackered. Even like watching television is tiring, which is why I'm a bit bored. And two, again, I was like at that point where I felt so sick. I was like, I can't talk to someone who's been like this for months and months and months. It's going to like break me. I have to have the hope that it will end soon. So I'm genuinely aware that I'm sure I'm in a much better situation than a lot of people, and I am grateful for that. But yeah, that's kind of my update. Let's see if there's anything else that I wrote. Oh, Shamiz, so I'm on some other medication for some other health issues, one of which is thyroid, other I'm taking hormones, all sorts of things. And when I first signed up for High Carb Health, in my 30-minute consultation, sorry, feeling sick. In my 30-minute consultation, I specifically checked, like, you know, because I understood the concept of toxicity, and I kind of thought, well, if I'm still putting toxins into my body through other medications, can I do the program? But Shamiz assured me that I could. And my plan is definitely, like, in the near future, once I'm done with this, to gradually come off. I would do like one medication at a time. Even my thyroid, which since being gluten-free and dairy-free before I did this program, I've been able to reduce anyway. And Shamiz kind of said, well, you know, your body's still going to be having those toxins to get out. So maybe he basically suggested that I come off all my medications, and that isn't something that sits well with me, which I've said to him for two reasons. One, I said to him, like, I know my body. I've been ill with various things since I was age 18, so that's, can I even work it out, 13 years. I've learned a lot over that time, and one of the things is that my body can only take so much at once. And bear in mind, some of these drugs as well, you're supposed to so slowly come off them because of the side effects making you really ill. And, you know, he said, yeah, but they're not for your stomach, so they shouldn't, like, exacerbate your stomach symptoms. But I can barely cope, like, as it is. I don't care if it's my stomach or something else. Like, I need to be able to survive, basically, and making myself feel horrendously ill kind of unnecessarily isn't something that I want to do right now. But as I said, definitely something I want to do in the future. And Shamiz was cool. Like, he was like, yeah, like, you know, we don't need to discuss that anymore. That's fine. And I do get where he's coming from. He said David Klein would say come off them all, but I know that I can't handle all at once those symptoms. I mean, you know, even with this detox, I've done it really slowly. I actually watched my last video, well, a bit of it, and I found my hand was all like this. But before doing this one, because I couldn't remember, like, what I said and where I'd got up to. And it's interesting, I don't know if it's the lighting, but I was quite surprised how, like, clear and beautiful my skin looked, because I never put makeup on for these videos. And I'm just looking tonight, I look white, and that's how I feel. But I don't know if it's lighting, although I'm in the same room at the same time, or if it's just me being blah. So that's it. That's my latest story.